play nerd. I play nerd.
Get those wonderful toys.
And the Masters of the Universe. From the evil forces of Skeletor.
Snoochie Boochies, everyone. Welcome back to another I Play Nerd toy unboxing and review. This time we have a figure from a property that's very near and dear to my heart because I played with this one so much as a kid. It is the Masters of the Universe Skeletor Vintage Collection from the Masterverse line. This is to mimic the original figure that came out in, I would say 1982 or 1984, whenever, but updated for the modern adult collector who's now in their middle age. So it's going to have 30 points of articulation, like you can see on the packaging itself. Much larger figure in that, I believe, 7-inch scale, approximately. Maybe it's 6.5. Who knows? Who cares? They're fun to play with and look at. What's also pretty fun to play and look at is the packaging. This is very nostalgic of the early 80s, very nostalgic of the original Masters of the Universe toy line, and that's what really catches my eye when I look at this. I got this online at walmart.com, so it's not like it popped out on the shelf, but definitely something I was looking forward to. Didn't break the bank. Pretty cheap figure at right under $22, so very affordable, very much not falling into that pattern of constantly increasing prices like you see with other toy lines. So definitely worth a pickup just from the price point alone, in addition to the nostalgic factor. So let's take a look at this packaging a little bit closer. Once again, very reminiscent of the original toy line with the red rocks exploding, the electricity, the kind of cosmic background that's behind all that red rock. So you can take a look at. It's made by Mattel, makers of the original Motu line. Original logos. Looks great. Skeletor, Evil Lord of Destruction. Vintage Collection. I believe this is the first figure in the line of Vintage Collection that Masterverse is putting out. We have the original He-Man one too, but that was not considered to be part of the Vintage Collection. So maybe they're starting something new. And something they'll probably continue on with additional figures. You see that's made from the Masterverse line. More nostalgic packaging on the sides. On the back, the art is very similar to what we saw back in the 80s. Skeletor is holding the power, I guess his version of the power sword. It says, Skeletor ruthlessly schemes to take control of Castle Grayskull and all Eternia. Masters of the Universe, 7-inch action figures, so it is a 7-inch scale. You can collect them all, each sold separately, of course. Press power sword into hand, press havoc staff in the hand. All right, and what we got here? Some history. In 1982, Masters of the Universe took the world by storm with action figures that captured the imaginations of people from here to Eternia. Today, the Masterverse celebrates the original designs as modern 7-inch scale action figures with the Vintage Collection. Sure. All right, that's enough playing around with the packaging. That's not what you came here for. Let's bust open Skeletor and play with him. And here's Skeletor out of the packaging with everything that he comes with. Let's take a look at his accessories. First, he does come with multiple pairs of hands. This one is going to be his left hand, which kind of mimics more of the classic 1984 version, 1982 version action figure that came out. And then he also comes with a right fist in case you want him to punch something. So these are his 2 extra hands. I'd rather keep the ones that can hold on to his Havoc Staff. That's just my preference. Let's take a look at the Havoc Staff itself. Pretty basic Havoc Staff. It looks nice. It looks like how you want it to look. Looks like the head of a ram on a pole. Now what looks cool is the sword. His version of the power sword, if it's even a power sword, it's a Skeletor sword. It's got this like glossy purple finish on it. The Havoc Staff is more of a matte finish. but this kind of adds a little cool visual effect to it. I thought that was neat. Let's look at the action figure itself. The one thing I really noticed once I started playing around with this figure was the details of his face. Let me get the right lighting on it. But he looks like Skeletor. He's got the red eyes in there. You can see it. But the skull piece on his face, it's got like additional paint apps on it that make it give it a little more texture. Kind of has this like dirty look to it, kind of grimy feel. Kind of gives him a little more horrifying look to his face. I think it's great. His hood is textured. That's pretty cool. Yeah, nice texture on it. It's not just smooth. His harness, you can see his crossbones here. It has a little bit of a chrome effect. So do the dots that go along the strap. The rest of the harness kind of has a leathery look to it, so there's definitely texture to it. The bat's on there really well. His little shoulder things here are done pretty well. You can see the back here. You can see how it mimics the original 1982 version with the way it has these notches on it. And so it's very, very nostalgic, but definitely updated for the modern collector. Even his little crotch cover here looks like it mimics the original figure from the 80s. The one additional thing they did add is they did put in a little slot here so that he could store his sword. So that's pretty cool. His front piece here, his little crotch piece, you can see there's some metallicness to the dots that are at the bottom there, covering up his wiener. He does have, let's upskirt him. He does have that fuzzy butt covering underwear that common with Motu. Done pretty well. His boots, also done very well. A lot of texture to it. These were sculpted very nicely. His feet have little extended toenails here. This is a very well done figure. His skin itself, kind of a lighter blue. That's what I think about when I think of a Skeletor. This is a great figure. Yeah, I don't see myself taking off his harness or his little crotch piece here. Maybe I will. There you go. Take off his crotch piece so you can see his fuzzy underwear. And he has a standard belt. See a little more of his six pack because Skeletor would be buff. All right, let's put this guy back on. Hope it's not too complicated. I hope it fits. And it does. All right, Skeletor. Skeletor. Articulation-wise, heads turn. There is some restriction because he has a hood on him. So you look at how high he could look up. Not that high. How far down? Not that far down. Twisting his head. You can go all the way around. Arms articulated. Yep, go up. Go down. Go out to the side. Has bicep swivel. He has double jointed elbows. Pinless. One thing McFarlane toys do not have. And he has wrist articulation, rotating and moving up and down. Leg articulation, thigh cut, double jointed knees, no pins. I love that pinless look. Feet articulated. Turn, move up. Yep. Holes on the bottom, so you can actually use a DC multiverse stand if you want to. Keep him standing. And of course, these are his alternate hands that help him hold his havoc staff or his sword. You can put his sword in either hand. Left-handed, right-handed. I prefer to put it in his little holder there, and then he uses his hands to hold his Havoc staff, because that's just Skeletor to me. So you can have him hold with one hand. I prefer two hands though. Oop, the sword fell out. Skeletor. Put the sword back in. And boom. Skeletor. He looks great. So let's take the Skeletor. Let's put him next to his nemesis, He-Man. The 40th anniversary one. These two are so cool to have next to each other. He-Man and Skeletor. I should get He-Man's other weapons, his shield and his axe, just because it's cool to display together. But just having these two guys together, having them battle it out, this is making the little kid in me very, very happy. Look like the originals, but updated for collectors who are now way too old to be playing with toys. Let's do something else. I'm going to put this Skeletor, this Masterverse Skeletor, next to some of my other favorite Masterverse Skeletors. Here's a New Adventures one. He just killed vintage Skeletor. Put them next to each other. Ooh, New Adventures one looks way taller. I was not expecting that. He's a beefy figure. But they will be displayed next to each other. And who else are we going to throw on there? If he fits in the screen, let's change it up a little bit here. Make sure I get good lighting. We have the movie Skeletor. Hell yeah. Oh, those are the only three Skeletors you need. Unless you want to get some of the other Masterverse ones, like the Battle Armor Skeletor. That one looks pretty cool too. I have not seen it anywhere. I want to get it for sure. And that's going to do it for this unboxing and review of the Masterverse Masters of the Universe Vintage Collection Skeletor Evil Lord of Destruction. This figure is awesome, and it's at a price point that is in the collector's range at $22. I got it on Walmart.com. Probably should still be available, but this figure is so great. I think it will. I think the supply is gonna kind of be very, very limited. I think once collectors see how great this figure is, they're gonna wanna all want to pick it up. But definitely nostalgia upgraded to a middle-ager, made for a collector that's now older. So definitely a must-have if you're a Masters of the Universe fan, a Skeletor fan, or just a fan of the 80s. That's it. Smell you later.